Hello, fellow Gambians. Today, I am seizing this opportunity as the leader of the People's Progressive Party to address all Gambians, both within and outside the Gambia, in respect to the 50th anniversary of our independence, our nationhood, that is going to be celebrated in a few days' time. We, as the PPP, would like to seize this opportunity to congratulate all Gambians for this very important occasion that is going to take place on the 18th of February 2015. I will, in the same vein, try to seize this opportunity to commend and pay tribute to all the fallen heroes who were part of the struggle to bring about the independence of our dear nation. Sometimes we only name leaders of the opposition like Reverend J.C. Faye, PSI, Alhaji I.M. Gaba Jahumpa, Sadawda Keba Jawara, Edward Francis Small, who was a trade unionist and a fighter of freedom, and of course, M.E. Jallo, called Jallo Union. All of them have contributed to lead the Gambian people in the struggle for independence. But let us not forget that there were many people who were committed and were determined, just like their leaders, and they supported these leaders in their parties and in divergent ways for these leaders to achieve their objective, that is, to make Gambia an independent state and to really throw out and draw and break the circles of colonialism on the necks of each and every Gambian. I seize the opportunity to pay tribute and commend all these fallen heroes and to tell them and their families that their struggle have not gone in vain. In another way, I would also like to express my happiness that the AFPRC for once have come to their senses and have realized that independence is the day when Gambians took the destiny of their country in their own hands and march to the future to make Gambia what it is today. We have observed that in the last 20 years, this government seriously downplayed the celebrations of independence and sometimes even make statements as if independence was not serious or was not important. But fortunately, the truth shall always prevail. They are going to celebrate independence in a big way. And there is no sane Gambians or any human being who will celebrate Gambia without commending Sadawda Keba Jawara, who was the leader of the People's Progressive Party, with his alliance parties, that is the Congress Party and the Democratic Party, under J.C. Faye and Jahumpa respectively, who joined together to make sure the aspirations of the Gambian people is achieved. The APRC they have not been celebrating independence, and instead they always make statements that Gambia became independent on the 22nd July 1994. This was the greatest joke of the century. But fortunately now they have come to their senses, they have realized their mistakes, and they are going to celebrate independence in a very, very big way. We in the PPP are very happy. And we see the celebration as a time of reflection. A reflection for all Gambians, young and old, on the progress we have made politically, economically, socially, governance-wise, and on all issues of national development. That is why it is always good to remember that in 1965, the Gambia government had no government institution except the GPMB, apart from departments of government. It was under the PPP that we established the central bank, and up to today there are some countries bigger than Gambia, have more resources than Gambia, but they don't have a central bank. And before independence, even the British, who ruled us for so many years, thought that Gambia cannot stand on its own feet. We cannot be an independent sovereign state. So they are thinking of making Gambia a region of Senegal. And it was the PPP leadership that put their feet down and said, no, independence for Gambia, and Gambia can be an independent sovereign state. And today, we have been proven right. And we have proven all those skeptics, all those prophets of doom wrong, that Gambia, with a responsible leadership, can stand on its own. And it was through the efforts of the Gambian government under the PPP that so many projects and institutions were established so that Gambia can be counted among sovereign, independent, respectable, democratic, and civilized nations. Apart from the central bank, all the parastatals, the Social Security, NAWEC, GPTCV, Gambia Port Authority, Civil Aviation, Maintenance Service Agency, the Kotu Power Station, Gunworks, all these institutions were established by the PPP government. And of course, apart from that, we have established so many other institutions. The Women's Bureau, the Kotu Housing Estate, the Backwater Housing Estate, the Carifing Housing Estate, the Brusubi, the Livestock Development Project, the German Forestry Project, the Horticultural Development Project at Sukuta, Burfood, Bakau, etc., etc., and the runway at Yunlum Airport was the best in Africa, so that NASA in America decided to make the Gambia airport their landing site for their craft. When we were taking independence, Gambians, Gambia had only 46 primary schools in 1964, 5 secondary schools, and 1 vocational training school. But in 1994, when the misguided elements of the army took over, illegally of course, the reins of government of the people, a government that was democratically elected by the Gambian people, a government that believed in democracy, respect for human rights, rule of law, and has a very good governance program in place. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, and freedom of worship. When they took over in 1994, Gambia had 262 primary schools, 38 secondary schools, 17 senior secondary schools. We have the Management Development Institute, the Rural Development Institute, the School of Nursing, the Bilkama College, the School of Agriculture, the School of Health, the Cooperative Training Center, GDCI, the Chairman Development Center, the Agricultural Research Institute, and of course, we went into partnership with all the mission schools, and it was the Gambian government that was paying all the salaries and giving them annual subventions for their maintenance and operations of their schools. That is why it is sometimes a joke when I hear people saying that the PPP governments have not done anything in education. We have done a lot. And because of the foundation in education, and because we have already set up a commission, the establishment of a university, and this commission made their report to the then Minister of Education, the late Kamabaji, in 1993, that it was possible for the AFPRC government to establish the university within 2 years. Any sane Gambian or any sane human being will know that no country in the world can establish a fully fledged university within 2 years. All the components of the university, as I have just mentioned, were already established. And we have already established the extension program with the Canadian University, who are helping us in the establishment. And a lot of Gambians now went through that extension program. When it comes to road construction, we built the Banjul-Serekunda Highway, the Bridge, Bilkama Mansa Konko Road, the Mansa Konko Soma Basse Road, the Basse Fatoto Road, Bara Kerawan Road, and then the Bara Amdalai Road, and of course, the Kerawan Lamin Koto Road, and the Lamin Koto Partners Road, and the Bikama Gunju Road, and the Sabiji Kato Road were all built during the PVP regime. If the APRC comes and starts maintenance on these roads, we also know that there has to be continuous maintenance for all structures and institutions of government, just like we maintain and make maintenance on our own homes and even our own beds, that you have to change the bed sheets every 2 days, 3 days. Development is a continuous process. In the area of health, we were happy because of our effective foreign policy and Gambia being a friend to many developed nations and have peace with all our neighbors. We were able to build several health centers, several major health centers, 400 health posts, 45 sub-dispensaries, and of course, major health centers in various big towns and cities in the country. For example, the People's Republic of China built us a major health center in Farafenye, Kaur, Same Karantaba, Kudang, Kuntawur, and Kiang Karantaba. And of course, the British government built for the Gambian government Bakau, Serekunda, Yesau, Kuntaya, Terawan, the Banjul maternity wing, refurbishment of the RVH and the Banjul Central Medical Stores, and of course, the Dutch government provides for the Disabled Center in Madina Parade and the Social Welfare Office, all in the same venue. And of course, we have seen the Gambia government also building health facilities in Buyam, Birkamaba, Bueng, Sukuta, and Georgetown. And then we have the Serekunda Health Center, the Fajikunda Health Center, and all these health centers were major health centers which provide even operations for minor cases, because we believed in the primary health care whereby all minor cases can be treated at the level of the major health centers, and doctors were provided for these health centers by the Chinese government. We were also able, through the Italian government, as I said, to build the Serekunda Health Center, the Fajikunda Health Center, and the Birkama Health Center. The Bunung Health Center, which is now called the Jammeh Foundation for Peace, was also built during our time when I was the Member of Parliament for Serekunda. The Yarabawal Clinic, the Independence Drive Clinic, the expansion of the Basse Health Center, and the expansion of the Bansang Hospital, and the Lehman Street Clinic were all built and furnished and furbished during the PPP government. And at that time, all these health centers and hospitals were fully equipped with the best equipment and the best staff. And there was medication in all the stores, quite different from now, when even paracetamol cannot be found in the hospitals. In water resources, we've built so many wells and boreholes throughout the country. In fishing, I was privileged to be the first Minister of Water Resources and the Environment, and fishing was under my purview as a minister. We built fishing centers all throughout the Gambia, like in Katong, in Gunjur, in Tanje, in Burfoot, in Bakau, in Albreda, in Bara, and an ice plant in Birkama, a fishing project in Jurunku, in Salikenye, in Tankular, in Kemoto, in Tendaba, in Bintang, and of course in other fishing centers for the interest of developing fisheries as an integral part of the economic development of this country. And to the Japanese, we were able to train Gambian fishermen not only in the method of fishing, but how to manage and operate fishing nets and outboard engines. And they were giving all these equipment and a canoe on loan basis to start their own fishing enterprise. Of course, on tourism, we know that the Gambia government, under the PPP, expanded the tourism scope. All the main hotels in this country, apart from 1 or 2 that were built in the last 10 years, were built during the PPP regime. And up to last year, we cannot have the number of tourists that were visiting Gambia prior to the coup d'etat in Gambia. So fishing, tourism has been developed by the PPP government. And these are facts that nobody can change. You cannot change history. You can never doctor history. Therefore, I am seizing this opportunity to tell all Gambians that it is important for us to tell our younger generations the truth, that without a correct foundation, this government could not have functioned as it is functioning today. Because all the institutions that are the pride of this government today, the Social Security, the Port Authority, and GAMTEL, were all established by the PPP government 10 years before the APRC came into power. And now, all the billboards with Yaya Jammeh, all the billboards with Yaya Jammeh slogans and promotions are by the GAMCEL and GAMCEL and the television and the radio are all byproducts of GAMTEL. Without GAMTEL, those institutions could not have been established. All of Njai Dafane, so direm borom dal. Nanga njeka agenda borom 10 njeka, because sinka suton 10 ndok du ega chindal. Without these institutions, there can never would have been a television, there could never have been a university without all the developments in the educational sector that was established, all those institutions that were established by the PPP. Today, it's a day of reflection. We in the PPP know and accept that there is no perfect human being. Therefore, there cannot be any perfect institution, government, or organization, because the human imperfections find their way in any organization that is being run by human beings. But I would say that the PPP government have done its part, and we have done it with honesty, we have done it with sincerity, we have done it with commitment to the interest of the Gambian people. In the area of agriculture, when we were having independence, Gambia was buying less than 30,000 tons of groundnuts. We make sure we concentrate on the development of agriculture because it is the most important foreign exchange earner, and at the same time, 85% of the population depend on agriculture for their survival. We established the cooperative union and the cooperative department and make sure this institution concentrate on building the capacity of the farming community, as communities and as individual families. We provide them with loans, with seed nuts, with fertilizer, and with equipment on a very, very low interest rate. And we developed the agricultural sector, particularly the groundnut sector, from 30,000 to 153,000 in 1993. Today, Gambia cannot buy 40,000 tons of nuts, national product. We diversified agriculture. We're into cotton. We became second to Mali in terms of quantity and in terms of quality. We had one of the best generics built in Bucket. Why is it zero? We developed rice until we were producing 42% of the national needs of this country. We had the Jahali Pachar, rice development project, small scale development project, lowland development project, to complement the small farmers and Gambians who are in the rice cultivation field. And this developed to a stage where most of the rice that was imported, 60% of imported rice found its way through the transit trade to other countries around the Gambia. And it became a very lucrative business for Gambian businesses, the transit trade, because Gambians were producing 42% of their needs in the Gambia. In horticulture, we were able to make sure that every Thursday, a cargo plane will land at the Windhoek airport and transport 90 tons of vegetables to UK, to Great Britain. That has stopped long time ago. In fishing, I was the first minister. I made sure that all industrial licenses, nobody will get an industrial license without having a home-based company. That's how NP was developed. Amadou Samba, Lifis, and so many others. And I gave instruction that every vessel will employ minimum 3 Gambians and pay them in dollars, young Gambians. Not only that, but 20% of your catch will be landed in Gambia to make sure they satisfy the local market so that fish will not only be affordable, but at least people will be able to afford the cheap fish. All these were done by the PPP government. Today, all these industrial fishing companies, LPE, Life is closed. And who is now enjoying the industrial license? That's a big question, because there is a lot of trawlers in our waters. Who are they fishing for? Which company is representing them in the Gambia? That is why I said this 50th anniversary, as much as it's a day of celebration, and we should thank God for witnessing the 50th anniversary of independence, particularly for some of us who were school children and marched at the Makati Square that day, when the Union Jack was lowered and the Gambian flag was hoisted, and the national anthem of the Gambia was played for the first time. Every Gambian was proud that day. But there were so many people who were worried because they thought Gambia is so small that we might not be able to stand on our own feet. The British decided to make us a grant aided country, whereby they pay our civil servants and some of the expenses to operate the government. Within 5 years, we asked them to stop because we can do it for ourselves. And it was only Gambia that instead of devaluing our currency, revalued our currency when Philip Sise was the Minister of Finance. We revalued it from $6 to the pound to $4 to the pound. It was also Gambia that the IMF and the World Bank decided that our dalasi should be accepted as internationally convertible currency. Today, in 1994, the dalasi to the dollar was $6 or $8. Today, it's $48 because the economy is very, very much mismanaged. The pound was $10 to the pound in 1994. Today it's $75 to the pound. That is why all the commodities in this country, particularly the important commodities, are beyond the reach of the Gambian people. And the ordinary Gambians working for the government and for parastatals, and even in the private sector, their salaries have not been increased to commensurate with the percentage increase of inflation because of the weakness of this dalasi against all foreign currencies which we use to import the major consumer goods that the Gambians use. The Gambian government has to go back to the drawing board. Get the competent Gambians, the efficient technicians and professionals to advise them for the way forward in our economic development. People are hungry. People are poor. People are starving. In 29 years of the PPP, we have never heard of the young people going the back way and dying in their numbers, unfortunately, because of desperation. They have lost hope, not only in their government, but in their country, because they have not seen anything at the end of the tunnel for the young people of this country. We have seen a bag of rice, the major good of this country, jumping from $130 in 1994 to $1,600 in 2015. A bag of sugar jumping from $110 in 1994 to $1,450 in 2015. A kilo of meat and bone from $25 to $175. A kilo of steak from $70 today, $275. The list goes on and on. And fish in Gambia today is more expensive than meat. Therefore, it is the responsibility of every and each citizen of this country to stand up and make sure we reflect on the past and reflect on what is happening today, so that we can come to an informed decision of how best we want to manage the affairs of this country tomorrow and in future. Therefore, I appeal to all Gambians to go back to the drawing board, sit down in their quiet moments and think about whether, after 50 years, this is the right government, this is the right leadership that the Gambians need. Unfortunately, I would say no, because there is nothing more important than liberty, freedom, and dignity. And we have lost it. How many people are in detention without due process? How many people have disappeared without proper investigation? Can you imagine how insulting it is for a court to free, discharge, and acquit an individual, and you are arrested at the door of the court and kept in custody for days and weeks and months? What an insult to independent judiciary, and what an affront to the constitution of this country. Let us reflect. After 50 years, what have we got to be proud of if we don't have dignity? If we don't have freedom of speech? If we don't have freedom of worship? Because I cannot understand how, after hundreds of years, whether it's Kokorique prayers, whether in Senegal or in Mali or in Guinea or in Nigeria or in any big Muslim country, some people pray on day one, some day two, some day three. Why should we agree for a president to decide for a country how to worship and when to worship? That is no government's business. The Constitution provides freedom of association, freedom of worship, and freedom of speech. We have seen during the time of Sir Omar Foutiyou, people were praying twice in Senegal, in Mali. The same thing during the time of Alhaji Mali Sy. The same thing during the time of Serigne Bamba. The same thing during the time of Sam of Kaolack. And of course, we have our own people here. Alaji Boubacar Bansan, and all these other Jabis and all these Kantes, they have seen Gambia and other Muslim countries praying on different dates when it comes to corrected prayers. For God's sake, why should we allow a president to dictate to us when we should pray and how we should pray? That is why it's a time of reflection. Because religion is so sensitive that governments should not interfere in religion. I appeal to all Gambians to sit up, think carefully, and reflect on what you want for this country. We want peace, stability. But we can only have peace and stability when there is justice. How can we get justice? Respect for the Constitution, respect for human rights, respect for rule of law. But if people's rights are being violated every day with impunity for 20 years, if the court's decisions are not respected, if the Constitution is being flouted daily with impunity, then that is a recipe for instability. Therefore, I appeal to all Gambians to sit up and stand up and speak for once for the truth that Gambia needs liberty, freedom, and dignity. I appeal to all Gambians, we the PPP are committed once more to come forward and lead the Gambian people to take the destiny of their country in their hands. Once more, to institute, as we did before, when the whole of Africa was under a one-party state or under a dictatorship. We were the only country that have multi-party democracy, respect for human rights, rule of law, and freedom of speech, movement, association, and worship. That is why the whole of Africa decided to establish the Commission for Peoples and Human Rights here in the Gambia. Let us once more bring back that strong sentimental wisdom that Gambians had. We need it before it is too late. Once more, PPP congratulates every Gambian for the 50th anniversary and look forward to your support to the party. Support us in any way possible, in finance, in materials, etc., to make our struggle against tyranny, against dictatorship, a success. Because we in the Gambia believe in peace. We in the PPP believe that change is necessary. But at the same time, we believe that this change, with our commitment, with our belief, with our determination, can be achieved through the democratic, peaceful process. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a very prosperous and enjoyable 50th year anniversary of independence. Thank you very much.